What would the banks be looking at as well?
Okay. So basically the banks would require, if it's a PTY limited, for instance, they would require 2 years financial statements that's signed off by the accountant and the director. And in most cases, they would ask for management accounts as well, which is basically a summary over a smaller or a shorter period rather.
Chat to a bond originator, get the pre-approval done, know what you need to be working on, get your credit, everything in order, and then you'll be good to go.
And I think of course, when you remove liability from yourself and you purchase property in your business, that's perhaps one of the ideal strategies that you can use. Hey Red Circle family, welcome back to Brick by Brick, your property power purpose podcast right here on Red Circle Television. I'm Dudu, your executive host, and this is our home buyers series with Green Door Home Loans. And I'm of course with my favorite co-host, Gerrit from Green Door Home Loans. Hey Gerrit.
Hey Dudu.
Welcome back.
Thank you. And
I know you've been on holiday. Welcome back.
Wow, thank you for having us.
And guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss our follow-up episodes. And it's going to be our last episode, actually.
Yeah, the next one will be our last. But like and subscribe, guys. And then, of course, follow us on our social media.
Yes.
We'll be in the links.
And make sure that you stick to this series so that you can end up owning that home.
Yes.
All right. So we're not alone today, Gerrit.
No.
Who are we with? Who are we with today?
We brought in the experts. Next to me is Gerrit from Green Door Home Loans.
Yes. Hi, Gerrit.
Hi.
Welcome to Brick by Brick.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate this.
And I'm so lucky because I have two brothers here
Yes,
with
that's correct.
So lucky. Such a lucky lady.
I'm the older one, he's the handsome one.
Oh, wow.
Family affair. I love that. Gerrit, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thanks.
Gerrit,
Yeah.
were you on holiday recently?
Yes.
And you left Gerrit doing all the work.
I did.
He was here by himself. You were enjoying, your holiday vacation, and he was doing everything.
I had to reset the creative mind,
Yeah, everyone deserves a little bit of a holiday, of
That's
course.
it.
Yeah. Well, welcome back from your holiday.
You. No, I'm really glad that Gerrit's here today.
Yes.
Gerrit's been the anchor of the family business since the get-go. He's been doing this for like over 15 years, I'm thinking, right? And not being biased, but he's probably the best bond originator in the country.
Yes. I agree.
Wow.
I agree.
Whoa.
Yes. And not because he's your brother, too.
No.
He genuinely is the
100%.
best. And Gerrit, I understand that you specialize specifically on self-employed applicants, your freelancers, your entrepreneurs, business owners, etc. And you are a property finance specialist as well, but with that specific focus.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, the thing is, it's quite close to home with self-employed applications. Some people get scared when they face a self-employed application, but you just need to know how to interpret it and guide the client through it.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
I love it. I love it. It's a passion of mine.
Oh, that's
Definitely.
so great. Since I started investing in property, the first property that I invested in, I had a payslip from an employer. And I must say, it does play to your benefit quite well. And that payslip, of course, had fantastic benefits on it as well. It had some, I think, housing allowance in there, car allowance, etc. And the bank does actually like to see something like that. Now, for self-employed individuals, entrepreneurs, freelancers, etc., their payslips aren't necessarily always in that form, right? So just take us through a little bit. What should self-employed applicants be considering?
Well, I think the first thing is to make sure that you split your business account with your personal account. I think since COVID hit over those years, the banks have changed their outlook on how they assess self-employed clients.
I see.
So they would now typically require an individual to sign surety on behalf of a company if you're deciding to purchase it in a company's name, and vice versa. if you are the owner of a company and you want to buy a property, they would expect the business to sign a limited surety on the application. So I think splitting the two accounts is definitely a must. You can't live out of your business account and then expect the bank to prove your income.
So that would be mixing your expenses essentially, and they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between your personal expense and your business expenses.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would perhaps be one of the challenges, I would assume, that a lot of self-employed individuals end up finding themselves in.
Definitely. Oh no, that's one of the biggest concerns is that, and then obviously understating your income is also a problem, because I always make the joke when it comes to me and an accountant. I have to show the bank how rich the client is, and the accountant needs to show SARS how poor he is at that point. So it's always a joke, but there is a middle point.
Yes.
There is a middle point, definitely.
You definitely want to be tax efficient, but not at the cost of your home life, right?
Of course. Yeah, let's not go there. No. Let's not take it there. So what do banks require from self-employed applicants? I mean, you touched a little bit, obviously, on separating the expenses, right? And that would be something that they would be looking for. Yeah. So what else should they be considering? What would the banks be looking at as well?
Okay. So basically the banks would require, if it's a PTY limited, for instance, they would require 2 years financial statements that's signed off by the accountant and the director. And in most cases, they would ask for management accounts as well, which is basically a summary over a smaller or a shorter period rather than a year. Business bank statements, personal bank statements, and a letter from the accountant to confirm the client's drawings. One of the main things that clients don't know is that the personal expenses that's being covered by the business can also be utilized as a income for them. Which will actually have a positive effect on the client's income that we declare to the bank. So that's stuff that we require. Obviously, we need the registration document of the business as well. And I think, one of the banks now actually decided that if you have a payslip being self-employed and you can give them a payslip and the net can correlate with the bank statement, they don't require financial statements, in fact. And that's one of the 5 banks at this point. So, yeah, there's definitely scope for the other guys to join that boat as well. So.
Oh, okay. So, and for smaller companies, I know when I started purchasing property in my company, obviously there wasn't any history in the company at that stage because it was a brand new company. And you mentioned earlier that, in some instances, as the individual, you would have to sign for surety in that case for that specific property that you want registered in the company name. Explain that a little bit. I think sometimes it's not something that is common knowledge to a lot of, small business owners in that instance. Please explain that a little bit.
I think being a small business owner, it is difficult. But if you qualify as being a sole proprietor, which is different to having a PTY limited, obviously you don't have to be registered being a sole proprietor. The requirements from a bank side is then quite different. They would require IT34s from SARS to at least show what you've declared as income over the past year or 2 years. In some instances, you get sole proprietors that's quite new. They only have proof of the income for the last 6 months or 12 months. Then I would normally call for invoices that then once again correlates with the bank statements. I think the important thing is the bank can't just work on a bank statement. They need to cross-reference it. And in the sole proprietor case, IT34s or invoices will definitely will suffice. But the other thing is you've got so many different type of businesses.
That's
if you use an example as a person that rents a chair in a salon, for instance, most of them have got this booking app, the Booksy. I think it's Booksy.
Yes.
I've had a client that gave me statements from their Booksy account to correlate with the bank statements, and that worked.
Oh, wow.
And it was six months that I had to use to prove that person's income, and the bank was happy with it.
Oh, wow. I have never heard of that before. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And how do they get around that? I know Booksy, so they're looking at the clients or the number of clients that have booked for appointments against your statement.
Yeah. Exactly. So it obviously it needs to, like I said, the cross reference
Sure.
is important. If I give you a invoice for X amount, that amount needs to be stipulated in your bank account so that it can be checked. Otherwise, you will get people that would say I earn 10 or 20,000 a month, and it's a nephew or a cousin that pays the money into your bank account. But you can't do that, obviously.
Right.
So cross-referencing it is essential. Yeah. But the thing is, like, that's just one example. I mean, there's so many. It really depends on the industry that you're in. But obviously, I've used an example as a person that works in a salon specifically because there's quite a lot of those applicants that come through. But that is the primary work. That's the employment.
Sure.
And that's why the bank would then consider it because you can prove it, and they know this is what the person's going to do to actually make money or earn money. That's it. Yeah.
And of course, pay the money into the bank.
Yes.
So if you're taking cash,
Oh.
probably stop that immediately. If
Definitely.
you're getting cash and then stashing it somewhere in some kitty box or something like that, that's not going to work for the banks.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. I don't. I'm too young to know if it worked that way in the past. But you're putting the cash on your bed. I think that there's no way because cash can't be traced basically. So you can't prove it. So that's the essential tip. If you do have a cash business, please bank those funds.
Money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and start creating that consistent flow of income.
Yes.
For the bank to be able to have a statement that actually makes sense.
That's it. I feel like one of the things that I hear a lot in the office as well, and by being close with Gerrit, is that a lot of the time the clients can actually afford it. It's just they're not sure of how to put the paperwork or stuff together correctly, and that's exactly why you have experts in the field to help you along that path.
Right.
You can afford it. Don't be scared to approach someone. Let's see what's the correct way to structure it and present it to the banks. Yeah.
And is that something that can be corrected? For instance, if I've been stashing money under my mattress for the last year or 2 years, 3 years, and now I want to buy a property and I come to Green Door Home Loans and now I want the proper profile. So can we correct, and how is that a possibility, or is it at all a possibility?
I think you can if you use that cash as a deposit for that specific purchase, yes. But you're suddenly paying a lump sum into your business bank account.
Yes.
How
is that going to reflect?
Yeah, it's not gonna do what we need it to do, because we need to measure the sustainability of the business, and basically try and determine what is the cash flow for the business month to month. So that's what I would want to see at least a year or 2 years if it's a PTY limited, like I said earlier. To understand what the capabilities are of the business. Can the business afford to pay me as a director my salary every month? And do I still have enough left? I'm talking about the business again, to actually cover all other costs and costs that you don't know is going to come from which side is going to come. So, putting in cash in a lump sum, it's not going to.
That's not a trick.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, okay. Another question that I think I've always been thinking about as a small business, and most small businesses, most of the time you're not making profit, right? You're not making enough to actually start paying yourself a salary. And in that case, then obviously you're not going to be able to show any sort of, consistent payment from your bank. And obviously you won't also be able to apply for a home loan in that case. Is there any way that if you have a company that isn't paying you for a specific period of time, is there any way that can somehow be corrected for your profile?
Yeah, I think there's always room for correction.
Okay.
Even if you've been doing it, I'm not going to say wrong, because you can't. Everybody's got your own CEO, by the way. So if you decide to do it that way, go for it. But if you are looking at buying a property, the best advice I can give is to approach us or someone similar to us and have a chat and to just try and understand what the requirements are. In most cases, I know you guys covered the pre-approvals in some of the previous episodes,
Yes.
but when it comes to self-employed and pre-approvals, I tend to do it the other way around. So I would ask the client, what is the property's purchase price that you're looking at? And if they would say 2 million, I'd say, okay, great. Now let's sit down with your accountant, and then let's go through your books, and then I can tell you whether it's possible to reach it at all. Because you're paying yourself, you can actually make that type of adjustments so that it's presented to the bank in that manner, to prove that the client can actually take a higher salary than what he's taking currently. So you can adjust it.
Yeah.
It might just take a month or two. It won't be an immediate thing.
Okay. And it's not illegal.
No. My advice would never be illegal. No. I think
No, of course.
the thing is it's just the way you look at the application is the same, or the way I look at the application is the same way the bank's going to look at the application, and you need to show that there is sustainability and affordability
In this business.
Because we all know being self-employed, you don't take all of the money that you want to take. You would rather leave it in the business and grow the business, which makes absolutely sense.
And reinvest into the business. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a way around it that is still legal. Promise you that.
And besides being like not illegal, I think the other side of it that I've also noticed from our consultants is guiding the purchaser in such a way that they're not going to be left in a unfavorable financial position once they've got the property. You know, we're not going to be saying, oh, we can push for this much, but then in the end, it's going to put them in a position where they're going to struggle to afford it every month. You know what I mean? So that's all taken into consideration as well.
And you guys are able, Green Door is able to also assist in terms of making sure that they're not, overburdening themselves.
Yes,
that's it. That's why we look at the whole and do that comprehensive assessment with the client. Yeah,
that's what I said earlier as well. There's equilibrium between what the bank needs to see and what the accountant is showing, basically, or what the client's capabilities are. So we obviously don't want to burden the client with additional income tax if it's not necessary.
Right.
So that's why I do it the other way around. We'll ask him, what would you want to buy? And then we work the calculations out backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you work on the profile based on that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to be self-employed or just be a business owner where, you are the employee also of your own business, and understanding how you should structure your profile based on that. Often I think we mix the two. And I think we mentioned this already, but mixing, not understanding that there's a difference between yourself and your business, and that every transaction has to be reflected as if you were working for a company, for instance, not as if this is your little kitty where you go and take a little bit here and there sometimes, and then other times you don't. So structure, I think, is very, very key in this instance, and consistency, as you mentioned. So structuring your business in such a way that you look at it as an employer and you are the employee.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that. Yeah, and if you can bring pay slips, even better, because there's benefits to that as well. Because a pay slip is going to show exactly how much you draw, what's your gross earnings, what is the tax that you are paying on that, and what is your net earnings based on the pay slip. So a pay slip is actually the best route to go for, especially in the beginning of the buying journey. If you decide, I'm going to buy a property in the next 6 months or 3 months, come and see us, and then we're going to assist you, and your accountant can actually make a pay slip for you, because there's nothing wrong with having a pay slip and then showing 3 months consistent income over that period, to show the bank that there's sustainability. Your company can afford to pay you this specific amount.
Okay, so 3 months is sufficient?
definitely. Yes. Yeah. It's all
I thought it
dependent.
had to be for much longer than that.
No, it's not.
Commission. I
Yeah,
guess that's
commission is an average over 6 months, so that's why. Yeah,
yeah.
but it once again comes back to the business. The business itself.
Sure.
What is the profitability of the business? Like I just said, you're not taking the full amount that you can out of the business. So showing it for 3 months and then still showing there's enough profit left in the business, it's perfect.
It shows affordability.
It shows sustainability. It shows affordability. All of it.
Okay. So let's do that, guys. Let's make sure that we are structuring our businesses in such a way that we can have consistent payments and have that pay slip. And once you get to Green Door, they can even perfect that even more.
Yeah.
Make sure your profile is up to scratch, and then you can start your home buying journey from there.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. All right, so Q&As. Do you want to hit your brother with a few Q&As?
Let's see what to ask him.
Ask him the hardest
Be
questions.
nice. Be nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
ask him really hard questions.
So I feel like this is a common one that people
Often.
have in the back of their minds is now it's a more complicated application. It's not straightforward. So if I'm self-employed, will I automatically now be getting a higher interest rate from the banks? Will they be giving me a higher interest rate because it's more risk or?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a good question. Yeah, you see, the point is the bank's decision on the interest rate is directly linked to the risk profile of the client, right? But you can be self-employed and have a exceptional credit rating and credit score, which will count in your favor, obviously. So to answer your question, no, it doesn't mean you're going to get a higher interest rate because you're self-employed.
There's no discrimination.
No,
Yeah.
no. If your finances are in place and we can prove your income, there's no way they're going to penalize you because you won't be a high risk. You'll be a low risk, and that gives you a good rate.
For as long as you have that perfect, consistent payment over the 3+ month period.
Yes.
And you just like any other candidate that would have a payslip from, a company or any other employee. Employer.
I think to add on that question again, that's why it's imperative to go to more than one bank at a specific time, because it's going to give you negotiation power once again. And there's nothing better than that, is to have a second and a third and a fourth offer that you can actually compare and try and push the rates down.
And just on that, Gerrit, is there consistency on how the banks look at self-employed individuals? Is there a consistency? Are they all using the same yardstick, for instance?
Yeah, sometimes I wish they did. Sorry to the bank out there, but so obviously each bank's got their own policy.
Okay.
And they base their decision within those lines that they can maneuver. So no, not all the banks look at self-employed the same way.
Okay.
The policy dictates it, so it does make it tricky. Giving a client advice up front, telling the client, well, this bank is going to have a problem with your setup, but the other two won't. So we're going to focus on these two. I think that's important information. Obviously, if you're a client of a specific bank, they've got your entire history and track record for the last 10 years or 5 years of your business. That makes a difference as well, once again. Yeah.
And the best thing about using a bond originator is that you get to go to all of these banks. And as an individual, you may not necessarily be able to maneuver that space as well as a bond originator would.
I think it would be a daunting.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work, huh?
To submit 4 different applications, being not salary earner as well. It's the same thing, but self-employed. Good luck with that. Rather come to us. We'll get the grays. That's what we do. So.
Yeah, that's what you're there for. Do all the hard work.
Exactly.
Yeah, and of course, I think the overall theme in this series has always been that start as early as possible.
Yeah.
Start as early as possible. Work with a bond originator as soon as you possibly can. And get that process going already.
That's it.
Don't come at the tail end. Don't come at the end when you think, my family now needs a roof over their head. Do it as early as possible. And that allows you enough time and space to address all the different requirements for the banks to be able to now see you as the ideal client.
That's it. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't affect anything in your life. It's actually just such a good benchmark to have from the beginning. Once you feel you are ready and you want to take that leap, or even before you even get to that point, just chat to a bond originator, get the pre-approval done, know what you need to be working on, get your credit and your everything in order, and then you'll be good to go, you know, because as I think I mentioned in one of the previous episodes as well, and you'll know as well, the stock of property is not overflowing, you know. So if there's a really nice place that pops up, you want to be ready
Exactly.
to jump onto it.
Yes.
You don't want to take the second best option. You want to have everything ready, and when that property pops up onto the market, you can go, okay, we have it.
We're ready to go.
Ready.
Yeah. Less disappointments.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I can imagine you seeing your dream home. Your heart is on it. You put in the offer.
Oh.
Then you get to us, and then we're like, listen, we should have done this 2 months
In
ago.
advance. Yeah.
Oh, that disappointment, especially for first-time home buyers, it's difficult to get over that.
Yeah.
And it might even scare them to committing to another property in the future. Yeah, so I agree with you guys. Come to us as soon as possible before you start the
as
journey.
possible.
Yeah.
Get that profile going. And sometimes you might not even think it's something that you need right away. And you find out maybe some months down the road that, you know, actually I do. Right. And that doesn't mean that at that moment you must then go to a bond originator as soon as you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Green Door is available at any point in time on that property buying journey.
That's it. Now, coming to us doing a pre-approval doesn't mean you have to buy immediately or within the next few months.
I think that's really critical.
That at least gives you an idea of where you are at.
Exactly.
Yes, you would have to do a pre-approval again, after 3 months?
Yeah.
Right? Just to ensure that the documents and everything is still, your income and everything is still the same. But once again, that pre-approval doesn't affect your credit score. It doesn't cost you anything. So rather take that first step.
Why
and just,
not do it?
Just do it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Gerrit, tell us a little bit about the tricks that you've come across when it comes to self-employed individuals. What are some of the tricks that they've used and tried to use when wanting to purchase property and where it has not worked at all? Okay. Take us through.
That question there's two parts to that question. So, do you want to know the tricks that worked or the ones that...
Wow. Should we censor that?
No, I'm kidding. No, I think the thing is, if you can push your personal expenses, school fees, your current rent, anything like that, even your groceries and your petrol, if you push it through the business, it's good. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a tax benefit to you as an individual, and there's obviously tax benefits to the company as well, with regards to the VAT specifically. So pushing your personal expenses through the business, 100%, nothing wrong with it. We can use that as part of your income when we approach the banks for a bond application. Specifically, if you look at, and it would make sense if you put it this way, if you are renting currently for 25,000 Rand a month, and you're now deciding to purchase a property for 2 million, for instance, that bond repayment is going to be about 20,000 a month. So basically offsetting the rent onto the bond repayment going forward. The business can already handle it because the business has been paying your rent for a certain amount of time. So I think that's one of the key things that some clients don't actually do, and that's something that they can look at, and you can get guidance from your accountant to see why it's beneficial to you and the business.
Yeah. And I think of course, when you remove liability from yourself and you purchase property in your business, that's perhaps one of the ideal strategies that you can use. I did that, of course. When I started off investing in property, I did buy property in mining. And that's because, of course, I didn't have as much information then. And as soon as I started getting a little bit more education, I flipped, right? I flipped my strategy and decided that, you know what, purchasing in a business is the ideal strategy in terms of less risk, and not having to have you become liable if anything were to happen.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. We've got quite a large investor book as well at Green Door. And there's a lot of different strategies that comes from tax practitioners actually, with regards to guidance and where there's shortcuts is not the right word, but where there's leniency with regards to staying within the parameters of SARS and tax.
And tax, yes.
But there is leeway, and you just need the proper guidance with regards to your example, registering a non-trading entity. It's like a shelf company, and you decide to purchase your properties inside this business. 100% legal, nothing wrong with that. When we approach the banks with an application for a non-trading entity, the banks don't ask for financial statements because the only income that's coming into that business is rental income.
That's right.
And that can be proven in the bank statement. So the rental income will play a part in the application as well, but the individual, the director, will be standing surety. So that individual's income comes to the forefront.
Into play.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me maybe three top things that I should do immediately. We've touched on a few things already, but maybe the three critical things that I should be considering as a self-employed individual who wants to purchase property.
Okay.
ASAP, as soon as possible.
So if you're dealing with cash, please bank it immediately, as soon as possible.
No cash in the math.
No, please don't. It's essential to have an accountant.
Yes.
I think you can't work without it being self-employed. You definitely need that guidance, and you have to declare the income to SARS. So there's no way around it. And I think definitely split your personal and your business. That's very important. Otherwise, there's no way to measure it. And I think if you do decide to purchase property, approach us as soon as possible,
right,
so that we can give you the correct advice and guidance. And I mentioned it earlier as well. I prefer to have the accountant present while we do those discussions, because obviously I'm going to suggest something and the accountant would say, well, this is the downfall if you do it that way. But yes, it's possible. And you have to go ahead immediately. Instead of working through the client to the accountant, well, with all due respect, the client is focusing on his business. He doesn't want to sit with those finance issues. He just wants the house. That's the point.
Right.
Yeah. So that I think that would be the three takeaways for me.
Things.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. And I think the accountant one maybe is one that a lot of people don't always consider. Of course, accountants are an expense. It is somebody that you're going to have to pay in order to balance the books and so on. But you cannot do without. And often if you think you're going to balance the books on your own, you're more than likely to make unnecessary errors as opposed to using a professional who can help you with that.
No, I agree. Well, in the past 17 years, you come across quite interesting stories, but clients that decided to do their own books on an Excel spreadsheet, for instance. So there's nothing wrong to do it on a monthly basis.
And ChatGPT now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. So checking your cash flow and doing it on an Excel spreadsheet, nothing wrong. Go for it. But submitting your financials today, you need a professional to do it, 100%. And that person is going to give you the necessary guidance to save on tax. Because I think most of the time when you do it yourself, I'm not saying that you're going to do it wrong, but you might end up paying more than what you would have paid if you had a professional to assist you. Yeah.
That's true. That's very true. You're likely to make more mistakes.
Exactly.
You're likely to have some unnecessary errors which could prevent you ultimately from, having that good application.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be a jack of all trades.
No.
Yeah. Master of none.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't try and do it all. There are experts out here who can help you.
Yes.
Right? You've got bond originators, you have accountants, you have attorneys.
That's it.
Those are people that, are available and can assist you in your journey. So don't try to be a jack of all trades. Any more hard questions for your brother?
Sure. What can you say? What do you think is a common?
Or maybe the duration, right? So how long does it matter how long I've been a self-employed individual? And for me to begin, we spoke about the 3-month period that suffices for the banks. Is that, if I'm a self-employed individual for those 3 months, is that good enough?
That once again comes back to what type of self-employed
individual you are.
Yeah, if you've got PTY limited, 3 months is not going to cut it, because they're going to want to see how you've grown from year 1 to year 2 and where you are now. If you're a sole proprietor, obviously, once again, dependent in which industry you are, to prove that income is going to be essential.
Sure.
Especially over 3 to 6 months, it's possible. The 3 months of the salary that I was referring to is if your business is established for 2 years, but you didn't necessarily take a solid income for that period, and you decide to do it now for the next 3 months, that's perfect. Because we're happy, because we can go back and look at the financial statements for the past 2 years. So when it comes to the duration that you're asking, it depends on which self-employed category you've before. There's more examples that I can make. If you are a broker at one of the brokerage companies, you would require to give us 6 months invoices to prove your income. So 6 months in that case is going to be fine. The reason why it's 6 months, and the only reason why, is because your income fluctuates month to month. So the bank needs to establish average over the 6 months.
Okay.
So they would remove the highest one and they would drop the lowest one, and then the 4 that's left, they take the average. That's basically how it works.
Okay.
So yeah, it's once again, it's a difficult one to answer straightforward, because there's so many different scenarios.
Yeah. There's different type of self-employed individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we've even dealt with real estate agents, right? Purchasing property.
Exactly.
That's also a very intricate one, especially if you're a real estate agent that works you have your own company,
Right.
yeah. Not just that you own your company, but you're also earning basically just commission. Yeah. But we've helped those individuals. Like it's possible. Just reach out quickly.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's the key point right there. That no matter what your business is, there is still a possibility to have that profile perfected, so that you can be seen as, being able to afford the property that you want. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a salon owner, if you're an attorney, if you are a freelancer photographer, for instance. So any job profile that you have, Green Door Home Loans can still create that profile for you. For you to be favorable in front of the banks.
Definitely.
So everybody can own a home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody should own a home. Everybody should be investing in property. Yes, definitely. And obviously the amount that you're earning, that obviously would count towards the type of home that you want to purchase.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what the banks are looking for as well. So your affordability, having that consistent pay, and your debts being addressed, having your expenses separated, so personal, business, separate, and then Green Door can obviously make sure that all of those things are in order.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We want to make those dreams come true.
Make the dreams come true. Make people own homes.
That's it.
I mean, why not? Owning property is such a great wealth building process and profile. If you can start owning property as soon as possible, it doesn't have to be a 2 million rand home. It doesn't have to be a 3 million rand home. Literally, 150,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, whatever it is, a small room apartment somewhere that you own. It adds to your portfolio over a long period of time. And anybody can be able to get whatever home loan or loan in order to start, building on that profile.
That's it. Come find out what you can afford.
Yeah.
Start there. And then you can take it from there. Then you can speak to other professionals. You can go speak to someone that's purely an expert in property investment.
Right.
You don't need to buy your dream home as your first property.
Sure.
Buy to rent out, to invest. Just start.
Yes.
That's the key thing.
I think ask yourself the question, I'm paying rent every month. Where's that rent going? It's going to the owner's pocket who pays his bond or her bond. So own your own. and pay off your own bond. And you've got something to show. You've got an asset at the end of the day.
Yes, which can build onto your portfolio.
Exactly.
And then once that portfolio is built on, you can even use that to leverage
Definitely.
for purchasing additional property.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how big or small, as long as it's there as an asset and you're able to leverage on that asset.
Okay.
Anything is possible out here. Anything is possible. Oh, I think we've come to the end of this episode as well.
So quick.
Oh, that was too quick. I want to have the brothers here for longer.
You'll have to bring us back.
Yes, please come back. Please do come back. Gerrit, thank you so much for your expert insight. I think being self-employed, being a business owner myself, it's critical to be able to understand all the time that your profile is something that you can always set up in such a way that you never have to encounter any challenges.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad you're back, eh?
Back. Yes. Welcome
And thank
back.
you for being here and for answering all these very difficult questions. It pays off being in the industry for that long, you know? You didn't even have to break a sweat of any of the questions. I think we need to get a few more difficult ones. So guys out there, if you have a difficult situation, you're not sure about your setup, whatever type of job you're doing, and you're like, oh, I'll probably never be able to own a home, contact us and then we can make a whole new episode.
Yes.
Just on that.
Then I'll have the brothers back again. They can answer some of your questions. Yes. So please add your questions for us. That's what we're here for.
Of course.
That's what we're here for. All right. So our next episode, we're going to be looking at attorney fees and registration.
That's it.
Yes. So that comes at the very end. Right. So the bank has agreed. They want to give you that loan and you get that check.
That's it. The go ahead
Yours.
from the bank.
Yeah.
You've accepted it.
Yeah.
You're happy because we got you the best rate possible.
Thank you, green door. And then now you get to register the home in your name and go through that process with conveyancing attorneys.
That's it.
So that's what we're going to be covering in episode 6 of the Home Buyer series. And it'll be our last episode.
Oh no.
It's going to be so sad.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't look at it as the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not the end. It's only the beginning.
That's it.
So thank you, Red Circle family, for joining us for episode 5 of the Home Buyers series. Thank you, Gerrit, for joining us as well. And thank you, Jean-Ray, for being an awesome co-host.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
And welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank
right?
you.
Stop going on holiday. You're giving Gerrit all the work to do. This is wrong. So wrong. All right, guys. We'll catch you in episode 6.
Bye-bye.